Welcome to another episode of Debunking Pro-Abortion Arguments. I'm your host, Lydia, spokesperson of Students for Life of America, and today I'll be addressing if abortion is really ever medically necessary and if women are really being put in jail for miscarriages and abortion. One of the most common myths we hear from the pro-abortion movement is that women need abortion for medical emergencies or miscarriage care. Pro-abortion politicians intentionally mislead Americans to scare them into supporting abortion. They exploit real women's stories in order to do so. We are told that women are bleeding out in parking lots because of pro-life laws. The truth? 0 pro-life laws prevent treatment for medical emergencies in pregnancy, and those medical interventions are not the same as a direct induced abortion. One of these situations of a pregnancy emergency is ectopic pregnancies, which are situations where the baby implants outside of the uterus, typically in the fallopian tubes, where it cannot survive and it is life-threatening to the mother. Currently, there is no way for the baby to survive an ectopic pregnancy, unfortunately, and so the baby must be removed by either surgery or medication. Both of these options are done in order to save lives, not end life, like what is done in an elective abortion, where the baby is intentionally poisoned or dismembered for convenience. Other medical emergencies that require the pregnancy to end include high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, or diabetes. The most efficient way to save the woman's life in every single one of these situations is a preterm delivery, not an induced abortion. Preterm deliveries seek to remove the baby and to try to save both lives, even though the baby might tragically pass away in the process. Whereas an induced direct abortion seeks to intentionally end the child's life for convenience. Abortion supporters may argue that pro-life laws force women to be on the brink of death before doctors can intervene, and that is simply a lie. Take the state of Texas, for example, where their pro-life heartbeat law is constantly painted as dangerous to women. In reality, in 2023, the Texas Supreme Court held that the Texas abortion limit does not require imminence or that the patient be about to die before a doctor can rely on the life exception to save a woman's life. So doctors absolutely should be intervening whenever they see necessary in pregnancy. If a doctor is refusing to save a woman's life in a pregnancy emergency, that is medical malpractice and has absolutely nothing to do with pro-life laws. Abortion supporters also love to compare miscarriage and abortion, saying that abortion procedures are often necessary to treat miscarriage. This is not only extremely offensive to the women who have tragically suffered miscarriage and lost their babies that they wanted, but this is also just completely wrong. Saying miscarriage treatment and abortion is the same is like saying that cremating someone and burning someone alive is the same thing, which is absolutely crazy. Miscarriage treatment is fully legal under every pro-life law because the intention is to remove a child that has sadly already naturally passed away, whereas induced abortion procedures seek to violently kill a child out of convenience. However, the radical pro-abortion left has run rampant all over the media with supposed cases where women were refused life-saving abortions or they're being criminalized, quote unquote, for miscarriage. Let me address some of the most popular cases of pro-abortion fear-mongering. First, you've likely heard of her, is Kate Cox. Kate Cox is a woman in Texas who became pregnant with a much-wanted baby until she found out the baby had been diagnosed with trisomy 18, which is a rare medical condition that is labeled as incompatible with life. Kate Cox argued that she needed the abortion at 20 weeks of pregnancy for medical reasons. The reality is that while trisomy 18 is a very difficult diagnosis, many children born with trisomy 18 do survive and go on to live beautiful lives. One woman named Megan Hayes has trisomy 18 and just turned 40 years old. Abortion supporters argued that Kate needed the abortion to prevent danger to her future fertility. But the reality is that late-term abortions are extremely dangerous and that complications themselves might lead to risk to future fertility as well. Kate only wanted to get pregnant one more time because of pregnancy complications in the past and didn't want to waste her last pregnancy on a disabled baby, which is wrong. Texas thankfully did not allow Kate to get the abortion, but sadly, Kate left the state and aborted her baby elsewhere. Kate's life was absolutely not endangered, and her baby should have been treated with love and respect. Instead, she had the abortion, and pro-choicers continue to lie about her story to push their narrative. The next case I want to address is the story of Amber Thurman. Amber Thurman was a woman in Georgia who wanted to abort her twin babies. She went up to my state of North Carolina to obtain abortion pills because she could not because of Georgia's pro-life law. She came back to Georgia and took the abortion pills, and like we've always said, chemical abortion pills are extremely dangerous, and Amber did face severe complications from them. Her babies did die from the abortion pills, but then she herself went into sepsis and had to go to the hospital. We don't know why doctors didn't intervene, but they should have, because the Georgia's pro-life law explicitly states that doctors should intervene in medical emergencies. Sadly, the doctors did not intervene in time, and Amber Thurman did pass away from chemical abortion pills. This is a case of medical malpractice and has nothing to do with Georgia's pro-life law. And pro-abortion supporters are continuing to abuse stories like Amber's to push their lies. The last case I want to go over is the tragic story of Brittany Watts, who had a miscarriage during her second trimester of pregnancy and was arrested. Abortion supporters claim her case is proof that pro-life laws are putting women in jail for miscarriage, but that is a complete lie. Brittany tragically miscarried her baby into the toilet and then attempted to flush her baby's remains down it, clogging the toilet. She was charged with abuse of a human corpse because of this. The charge had absolutely nothing to do with miscarriage or abortion and had everything to do with Brittany's actions after her miscarriage to flush a human child's body down the toilet. My heart breaks for Brittany, and I wish she could have gotten better medical help in this situation, but it is unacceptable that abortion supporters are abusing her story to push their radical agenda of fear-mongering and lies. The only people putting pregnant mothers in harm are the pro-abortion leaders that are lying to women and telling them that they'll be put in jail for seeking medical treatment in pregnancy. The pro-life movement offers real help and resources to women facing difficult pregnancies, and you can access those at standingwithyou.org to get connected with local pro-life resources near you for women who are parenting or pregnant and facing difficult situations. But the truth is, intentionally killing a child is never medically necessary, and the pro-life movement advocates for both the baby and the mother to be treated as patients, and that medical care should be given to all human beings, born and preborn. Thank you for watching this episode of Debunking Pro-Abortion Arguments. If this was helpful, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend.